You can now hear the GCRN Radio Network while on the go with Stitcher Smart Radio. Stitcher is a free-use and talk mobile app available for your smartphone. And when you download Stitcher to hear GCRN Radio, you'll have a chance to win money. Downloading is quick and easy. Just find Stitcher in the App Store. During registration, hit the promo code box and enter GCRN Radio, all one word, to get automatically entered to win $100. The latest episodes of the shows will be waiting for you in your favorites. You'll get access to lots of other amazing shows too. Always available to you on demand, no syncing. It's Stitcher Smart Radio. Don't forget to enter promo code GCRN Radio when you register.
Me Grimlock, not podcaster. Me Grimlock King.
Cliffjumper, commence countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now, ToyCast. Oh, yes. Listen in to the only toy podcast you will ever need.
So this is ToyCast, and I, of course, am TFG and Mike, and I am joined for the first time here on ToyCast by Darth Devious. Hello.
Hello.
And Slime Blower Bob. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Yes, this is ToyCast episode 90, where we will be talking about toys and in this crappy economy that we live in. This is the countdown to the end of ToyCast, because once we reach 100 episodes, I'm putting the podcast to rest peacefully. I just don't have, this is the first time we've released an episode of ToyCast since Paul, Steve, and myself did the 89 Batman show. Oh, God, I don't even know how long ago it was. I'm not even looking at the information. It's been a couple months. But ever since Optimus Scourge passed away last year, I just don't have the heart to do this podcast anymore, because he was one of the ones that mainly started it with me. He was the one that kind of pointed me in the right direction of where the show should go when we started. So with him gone, I think ending this show at 100 episodes is a good thing. So yes, toys, collecting toys in the current economy here in the U.S. Now, I know other places like the UK and Asia and Australia and all that stuff, they have bad economies, but so do we. I mean, the U.S. it's not the land of dreams anymore. It's the land of financial debt.
Yes, it is.
So,
yes, it is.
With you guys specifically, you're both married and have children, so I think this would affect you guys the most, more so than someone who would be a regular toy collector like Paul or myself or Spada or, Pete, anyone that, that doesn't have kids. But, I mean, this all started with the pricing shit with Bruticus on BBTS, and Bob said something on Twitter about, Hasbro's making deluxes $14.99 now. What did you say?
Well, it's already hit our area. The prices for deluxe have been at Target are officially $14.99, and just for regular deluxe figures. And then that started a whole thing with Optibotimus, and I think Mexabotimus got into it also. Saying about how $3 is no big deal, but it is when you're getting a piece of crap. Like the quality is horrible. The plastic feels cheap. There's no paint. I mean, at least put a faction symbol on it would be nice.
Yeah.
Something. I mean, yeah, you can get retro labels and all that stuff, and yeah, they're for kids. I understand all that because they were throwing all that at me. But if I'm going to pay $15 for something,
Yeah.
I don't want a cliff jumper that the arms don't even hold together, for goodness sakes. And
Yeah.
it might just be mine that it didn't hold together, but
Oh
I
no,
feel
it's
kind of ripped.
everybody's.
Yeah, I just kind of feel ripped off when I'm paying $15 for a figure. And yeah, I'm not playing with them. I'm collecting them, and they're on my shelves. And once in a while, my kids go, "Dad, can I play with your Transformers?" So I transform them for them and let them play with them. And even my kids are like, "Oh wow, his arm fell off." And I was like, "Yeah, it does that." Really? What? And then Paul's like, "Well, they say that because you say that." And I was like, "No, my daughter, she's 10, and speaking of toys, we just got her. She likes Monster High, and we got her a flashlight from Mattel. It's actually made by Mattel, and it's a flashlight. You press a button and hold it in, and it stays on, and then you can let go, and it turns off. She used it twice. The button falls off of it, and it's completely broken. And she's like, "What a piece of crap this is!" And I was like, "I'm so sorry," and I felt bad. And she's like, so excited to get a new toy, and then it broke. It's like, what do you do as a father? It's like, sorry, honey, the little Japanese kid didn't put it together right, or whatever. I didn't say that to her, but in my mind, that's where I went. And I know I'm going to hell for that, but I'm sorry. But I mean, if you're
Ping
going to
Mao
pay,
was having a bad day.
yeah, but if you're going to pay $10 for a flashlight that says Monster High on it, you think it should work more than twice. And then you shouldn't have to use duct tape in a metal ball to try to put it back together again.
Duct tape fixes everything.
Well, it does, but I shouldn't have to after you spent $10 on this, flashlight. Flashlight's it's not like building a rocket. It's not that hard.
Yeah, true.
It takes like 50 cents to make it, because it's cheap plastic and 2 batteries in it and a light bulb. I mean, it's not rocket science.
I remember back in the good old days of the 80s as a kid that my Fisher-Price 3 lights in 1 flashlight lasted at least a year and a half, because the 3 lights in 1 was where you could flip us, like, it had the regular flashlight color, and then you can flip a switch between red or green, so it would give it a red or green hue.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing lasts me forever. But toys today, it seems like almost every person I interact with online, every time they buy a toy, for the most part, there's something wrong with it. There's hardly any, sure, you can try to put a positive spin on a toy review, but most of the time, if you have crappy, stuff, then I don't know.
Well, to me, it just seems like the deluxe toys, like, you haven't collected for a while, Mike, but the new Prime figures are smaller and smaller and smaller. The deluxes are, and it's like, but the prices go up and up and up. But somehow, like, the Cyberverse figures are better painted and seem like they look better. More time and effort went into them for a little toy than a deluxe figure, which would be easier to do in my mind because you got bigger pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Easier to paint, easier to sculpt, I guess. I don't know.
I'll agree with you on the Cyberverse being better painted, but as far as size goes, I've got on my dresser right now, on one side I've got all my Classics Autobots, and the other side is all my classic Decepticons. In the center is all my Prime figures. They're all pretty much the same size in robot mode. It's just they're finding ways to compact them a little bit more in vehicle mode, just making them look smaller, but their robot modes are so much larger than their vehicle modes. They're being clever with it. In most cases, there are a few exceptions, but
right. And I think we need to say this before we really continue this, especially with Hasbro and Transformers. Yes, we understand that Hasbro and Transformers, because you're transforming it from one thing into another thing, that takes a lot of engineering and all this and all that. We understand that. So we're not really being negative here about the process of how it becomes a car and becomes a robot. It's more so that they keep scaling down. In comparison, Mattel has said, hey, the Horsemen or whoever, specifically to Masters Classics, are giving us $22 worth of paint applications. That's what we have to charge. Blah, 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 blah. So instead of taking away like Hasbro will, instead of taking away a paint app or taking away a sticker, Mattel just leaves all it in there and just hikes the prices up. Anyway, regardless. I don't think outside of like Orko and the larger Beast figures, we've never seen a scaled down version of a 6-inch figure in the Masters Classics line. You know, and again, we can't be talking about this without pitting Hasbro and Mattel against each other, because Hasbro is now doing the price increases, or they have done price increases, but they're taking away from the toys. Like the first editions, why did that shit get canceled? Those toys, okay, granted, RC was a little out of, proportion scale-wise as far as her height. But other than that, those first edition Transformers Prime toys were amazing. They were great looking. They, fit with a lot of other things.
And I wouldn't have mind paying $15, even $20 for one of those.
Yeah.
Something that actually looked good, was thought out. But when this stupid, RID versions came out, it's just like, what did you do?
Yeah.
You sent all the good stuff to like England and stuff, but you gave us like what Indonesia should have got.
Oh, I know what it is. It's revenge because the UK didn't get a lot of stuff in the 80s. That's what it is.
Well, I'm just thinking,
damn you Brits.
Well, if you guys think back to the days of Beast Wars and stuff, you got like figures with metal and all this stuff, and they were like $9-10.
Destruction. It's a lost art.
Yeah, I understand that was years ago, but really, like a deluxe Prime figure, what do you think it really costs? And then after they add 10% to it, the store, Walmart, whoever adds their cut to it, it's a $10 toy that you have to pay $15-20 for.
Yeah.
And it's like the quality is just not there. And like Paul was saying, well, they're for kids. I understand they're for kids. Yeah. And I'm almost 40 years old, and I'm complaining about a kid's toy. But in my mind, kids are probably thinking the same thing. They don't have $15-20 just willy-nilly to spend on a toy, take it home, and the arm falls off. Yep. Like Paul was saying about his toy, he got Croc, from Batman. Mm-hmm. And the arm just plumb fell off of it for no reason.
Let me ask you guys this. Now, obviously, you guys have two very different parenting styles. Are you teaching your children to save their allowance, if they get an allowance or anything like that, to save for what they want? Or are you just getting them the toys that they ask for?
I try to get them to save up their money for it. They don't get a lot of money because we don't have a lot of money right now. Mainly they get toys on their birthdays and Christmas, special things like that, because they've got so many right now. They really don't need a lot of new ones.
Right.
And they don't really want a lot of new ones. And my youngest is the only one who goes around saying, well, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. Yeah. So.
What about you, Bob?
With me,
Bob, your turn.
Yeah, my daughter, she gets an allowance and she saves up money, and if she wants something, we'll talk about it. Okay, is this something you really want? Because 9 times out of 10, she goes and buys it, plays for it for a day, and then you never see it again.
Yeah,
it gets lost in the mess. Yeah. Or like if I'm out, like when I get my paycheck and stuff, and I go out and look for something that's out, because I'm still looking for Viacom and cannot find them anywhere. And if we're out at the store looking, Dad, I would really love to have this. Well, I would really love to have $1 million, but they just kind of deal with it. And okay, we'll get something small, and that's like under $10. Yeah. But that's only maybe once a month. So they're not spoiled in any way. And if they want something really important, they have to work for it. And because that's how I was raised. If I want something and I'm not going to borrow it from somebody else, I'm not going to borrow money, I'm not going to get somebody to get it for me and then have to owe them. I have to earn it. And when I save up for it and I buy it, it makes it more like this is mine. I worked hard to get this kind of thing. And I try to put that value into them.
Yeah. Now, for me, when I was collecting and when I would go into the stores, even back when Generations was first running, not like, I don't remember when it was. It was before the Dark of the Moon line came out. And, obviously I wanted Optimus, I wanted Bumblebee, I wanted, Megatron, all that stuff and everything else. But there'd be times where I'd just go into Walmart and Target and just look at the toy, specifically with animated. I know, Paul loves animated, I love animated, but with that toy line, I would look at some of those toys and I would look at the price tag that the stores had on them. At the time, it was anywhere from here it was anywhere from $9.99 to $14.99 for a deluxe back then, and it just depended. And it was just like, is this toy really worth me wasting that amount of money when I'm eventually just gonna either end up selling it or giving it away? And it wasn't. It wasn't worth, and that's one of the reasons outside of my whole, descent into Matty hell, leaving that subject alone. That was one of the reasons why I stopped collecting Transformers, is because I would buy stuff and then like a week later I'm like, I don't need this anymore. Let's sell it. I just kind of lost interest in it, and I kind of lost interest in not being able to use that money somewhere else other than, collecting a toy.
And I feel that same thing even with like now. I mean, I'll go there and like I had RC in my hand and I had Hot Shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, do I really need a repaint of Bumblebee for the 19th millionth time? And I was like, which one do I want? And I walked around the store with it a couple times with both of them, and I was like, I don't want to put them both back. And I was just like, they really didn't do anything for me. I wound up eventually getting RC, but I was just like, do I really need it? I don't really need it. I mean, yeah, I would like to review it, for the YouTube thing and stuff, but there comes a point where it's just like, I don't really like it, so why bother buying it just to review it? You know what I mean? It's like, it seemed kind of like a waste of money. It's like, what do I do with it after I review it,
Yeah, some of specifically the two prime repaints that I just don't care, Hotshot and Dead End.
Ugh.
I love the Wheeljack mold for Wheeljack, and I like the Bumblebee mold for what it is for the prime toy, but Hotshot, that's just fucking stupid to me.
And he's not even in the show.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yet. And
but the other
Dead
one...
End is like, okay, he's a Halloween toy. Lovely.
Did you read the bio on him, though?
No.
Something like he got some bad energon, and it made him insane or whatever, and then he had a bad acid trip or something. I don't know what the heck happened. But he looks like the Joker when he fell into the pit of goo, it's like, and he comes out and he's all, the first Joker, and it's just like, they really couldn't come up with something better than that?
I just don't
Kids,
know.
your toys are on drugs.
I guess. It's like, Daddy, what happened to Wheeljack? He looks all scary now.
I just don't know what Hasbro is thinking with some of these repaints now. Okay, sure, everybody in the beginning made the joke about, a Smurf jumper, because he was all purple, and then they weren't going to do what is now the SDCC exclusive version of the red with the purple splotches. I honestly don't mind the purple cliff jumper. I think it looks kind of cool, but at the same time, with some of these other repaints, and I know that they want to, repaint or repurpose the toys so they can make the, let's face it, one toy probably cost them, what would you guys say to manufacture that?
$3?
What?
What?
$3?
Oh, I thought you meant like an individual toy, but the whole process?
Yeah.
Probably $1,000 to $2,000.
Yeah.
With all the research.
So,
with
all that going into, they obviously have to, and I think that's why, sadly, the market is pelted with bumblebees. I mean, it's like a friggin' hailstorm.
And like Paul was ramming down my throat today, not to talk bad about Paul or anything, but he was just saying Bumblebee sells, and why not have that on the shelf because it sells? And I was like, if they were selling so fast and everybody loved them, why is there so many of them? Did they just overproduce them, or kids are just going, yeah, look, there's Bumblebee, and just walking by?
That's why I call it the Sea of Yellow.
Exactly. It's like every time I go to the store, that's all I see. I don't even see Cyberverse or anything. It's like where the pegs are for Cyberverse are Bumblebee. And then you gotta like rifle through all the Bumblebees, and there might be one like Wheeljack in the back or something. It's like, I just don't understand it. Instead of making the stupid mech tech weapons for the Voyagers, why don't they just make better toys? Get rid of the weapons.
Well, I don't, okay, deluxes back in 2008, 2009 were fairly decent. Now that they are shrinking them down considerably, as far as I mean, deluxes at this point are what, maybe 4 or 5 inches. They're not like 6 or 7 inches like they used to be. I mean, you might as well just stack 2 3 and 3/4 inch GI Joes together. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's
And I remember when like Voyagers were like huge, and I got my first one in a long time. My kids got me for Father's Day. They got me Prime, or Optimus, and the thing is tiny. I was just like, really, this is a Voyager? I mean, he's not that much bigger than a Deluxe. I mean,
Well,
a couple of inches. I mean,
actually, he's taller than the Classics Optimus Prime by about half an inch.
but in my mind, maybe it was just because I haven't had one in so long. Since before when I was collecting when I was younger. It just, even like the alternator Jazz figure towers over the Voyager Prime, and I was just like, well, there's something not right there. In my mind, I guess they looked bigger in my head, and I expected it. And then when it actually got it in my hand, it's like, okay.
I remember when I got the '08 BotCon set, and you have Shattered Glass Prime in there, which is essentially a repainted Classics Optimus. That toy felt heavy to that Voyager felt heavy to me. The Deluxe Rodimus felt, a decent weight size as far as a deluxe size went at the time. And now it's like prick, and you can just shoot them across the room. It's like you sent the damn things up in space and they're weightless or something. I don't know. I just honestly I prefer putting my money to other uses, whether that be getting stuff on iTunes, whether that be putting it back into GeekCast Radio and the podcasting network and all that stuff. But I can't justify, especially if deluxes are now going to be $15 no matter what. There's no way in hell.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the cost of everything, like you were saying in America, and even to make it in Japan and then ship it here. Mm-hmm. And then to have the store sell it and gas to get it here. I understand the price hike, but at least try to do something.
Yeah.
I don't know. As a toy company, it's like they're failing miserably on the line. Like you said, the first editions would have been awesome, and I would have been happy to pay $20 a piece for those. Mm-hmm. They could have made a killing, but then they scale it down, go cheaper product or something. Because the only first edition one I have is Starscream. So I don't have any to compare it. Kev, you have Bumblebee, right? You have first edition and the new one?
He's missing at this point in time, yeah.
But anyway, I've seen it, and it's like it looks better built, better thought out than just kind of thrown together, hurry up, rush it out. People want them. I don't know.
It just... I don't know... I just don't know why. Of course I know why toy companies exist. That's obvious to, sell to kids and everything else.
Right.
But I just don't understand if they're, for, let's say, the whole process on one Deluxe or Voyager, however much it costs them to make it, to ship it, to put it in stores, to make the deals with the stores, whatever else, all that stuff. And the prices that they charge for it, I don't see how they're making their money back, besides just straight volume.
Well, like making their money back, like you just said, all those Bumblebees on the shelves, and I know working in retail and stuff, once those don't sell, they go back to a warehouse and sit or get destroyed. Because like even a bookstore, they buy books and they don't sell, they're on the shelves. Where do they go after sitting on the shelves for so long? Is their warehouse just full of nothing but Bumblebees?
There must be, or Skids and Mudflap, because,
Yeah, it's like, you see
I
them on the
saw
rack.
Skids and Mudflap in my store, like, 3 months ago from Revenge of the Fallen, and it's like, really? You still have a Revenge of the... It's like, what do these stores do with all the shelf-warming toys? They just leave them on the shelves until it's time to do they send them to, a trash compactor where Lotso makes the trash smell like strawberries? I don't know,
See, and it's like, I think they go to like this big toy don't sell warehouse, and then it's like 10 years from now they're going to find a huge shipment of bumblebees. Oh, look what we found, and flood the market again. It's like I just wonder what they do with them. I mean, eventually Walmart's going to go, okay, these things aren't selling. Let's get them out of our store. It's taking up space for something else that people might want.
That's essentially what they've done with G.I. Joe. I mean, I think Walmart, and I could be wrong about this, listeners can correct me, I don't know. I know the whole debacle with, pushing the movie back for 3D, and because the test screenings failed or did badly, I think Walmart said, well, we're not going to carry your G.I. Joe toys anymore.
And every time I go to my Walmart, they have, pardon my French, but they have ass loads of Thundercat toys. Anything you possibly could want. And every time I go there, it looks like nobody's ever touched them. And they're just sitting there looking sad and lonely, like somebody buy me, and nobody is.
Yeah.
Because nobody cares. And it's like, what do they do with those toys? They have to go somewhere after they don't sell.
Well, the thing with Thundercats is that was a deadline to begin with. Because I had only seen one video, and, I know people don't like the person, but whatever. I saw a Pixel Dan video at one of the conventions. I think it was last year's Power and ThunderCon, where Bandai was talking about the Thundercats line, and then all of a sudden they just stopped. Like, they weren't talking about it, they weren't promoting it, they weren't doing anything with the toy line whatsoever. And the toy line, it was like, somebody threw a body over the edge into the newspaper bundler, and it just started bleeding red everywhere because the production on the Thundercats toy line essentially just halted to a screeching halt. And they wouldn't talk about it, they wouldn't do anything about it. And now with the show, supposedly the show is over, regardless of, them having, booked 52 episodes. We've already finished the first 26. I don't know if Cartoon Network is going to run the other 26 episodes, because at their upfronts, it wasn't even mentioned as a returning show for the next season.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't know what's going on with that, but it's like... And again, Thundercats, as much as I love the franchise as a kid, I just can't get behind those toys. For me personally, it's like, oh...
Well...
A 6-inch G.I. Joe figure painted like a cat. Whatever. I know that's not what they are, but that's just the way that I look at it, and it's like, wow. Oh.
It's... I don't know. The only one I have is Mumra. And he's the bigger figure, the 6-inch figure. He can't stand...
the one with the weak ankles.
Yeah, he can't stand to save his life. And it's just like Bandai just kind of went, yeah, I don't care. And it's like, that's another toy I'm just glad I didn't pay for, because Paul was nice enough after he reviewed it. He's just like, I don't want this piece of crap. Do you want it? And I was like, sure, I'll take it. It's a free toy. I'm not going to turn it down.
The only thing that looked cool to me in the entire Thundercats line was the Thunder Tank. That was the only thing I liked about it, that entire toy line. And Bandai, screwed themselves over with the Thundercats classics, because they couldn't decide what size they wanted Lion-O's dick to be. 8 inches, 7 inches, 6 inches, whatever.
Yeah, just stick to one line. I mean, make a good line.
One size class, damn it.
Yeah.
God.
Wow.
It's sad. Size does matter in toys.
Wow. That's crazy.
Looking at you, Unicron.
Just like these new Fall of Cybertron toys. I'm so excited to get them, and I know I'm going to be let down. But like Brawl's already sold out on Big Bad Toy Store at the pre-orders. No more.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I was asking my wife, since she's an author, and her books go to bookstores, and from the bookstores do not sell her books for a certain time because it's taking up valuable space on the shelves, that they could put something that somebody would actually want to buy. Not saying that her books are bad. I'm just using her as a Right.
as an example, yes.
Right.
So she doesn't listen to this show.
She's right behind me.
Oh,
With the
lovely.
big knife.
Another.
She looks
what
like
are
Freddy
you
Krueger.
doing? You're not opening that moment.
No. Anyway, she says that they get returned to the publisher, and then from there, the publisher tries to sell them or give them away to try to get them out. They do discounts on them to try to blow them out.
Yeah.
So like a $15 book may be $5 just to get them out of there.
Yeah.
And I know they don't do that with Transformers or toys or anything, but you know, you go to Toys R Us and you find a toy that was $25 on sale for $10. I know the big chains do it, but I'm just thinking Walmart, you know, once they get those toys that don't sell the peg warmers, where do they go? Is there like
The clearance section?
Yeah, the clearing. There's
but
those little racks.
even the clearance section doesn't. I've been through my Walmart several times. I rarely go to the toy department anymore, but even the stuff that they have on clearance up front in the store, it's never like deluxe packaged action figures from any line. Doesn't matter whether it's Transformers, Star Wars, it's never any of that stuff. The thing about it is like, you know, what I don't get is, okay, I understand BBTS puts out a certain amount of money for a certain amount of toys, or, you know, they have different budgets that they use to go get all these toys that they use to sell. And yes, I understand they do a markup and they do the shipping and all that stuff, and it's all that cost and everything else. But it's very rare for me. I know BBTS has clearance and blowout sales themselves, but it's very rare for me to see any deluxe Transformers or Voyager Transformers on their sale pages. It just is. I don't understand it. And they'll have stuff that's, you know, they'll have like those larger scale, not Hot Toys, but like other stuff that's like super expensive. Like a price tag of $274.99 for something, and it won't sell. And then when they get to their like Christmas sale or New Year's sale or after 4th of July sale or whatever the hell sale, you know, Vampire Hunter Day sale, whatever, you know, they won't mark those down, and if they do, they'll mark it from $274 to $169. That's still a hell of a lot of freaking money, and you still want to move that product? There's no way.
Well,
I caught one huge sale on Big Bad Toy Store about 2 years ago. It's this huge statue of Davy Jones from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. And it originally sold for like $250. I got it on one of their sales for $30 shipped. And this thing is massive. I mean, I can't even display it anywhere right now. But every once in a while you get lucky.
I don't know. Do you guys have toys or TJ Maxx stores that you're, you know, out where you guys are?
I've seen them. I don't ever go in them.
Go in there. They have the best Transformers because they get leftovers from what the stores don't sell.
And that's usually what happens.
I've been to TJ Maxx, and they actually have like Dark of the Moon figures and actually reveal the Shield. They had Wreck-Gar and a lot of ones that I never got to see that only hit the store for like a day and then was gone. You know, it's like, I don't know if they got recalled or what, but they actually have, TJ Maxx has good Transformers and weird ones that you wouldn't expect.
You guys
ones I
have
haven't
like
seen before.
You guys have like Five Below near either of you?
What is it?
No.
Five Below.
No.
It's a discount store. Everything in the store is $5 or less.
Yeah.
We just have Dollar Trees.
Back at Christmas time, they had every single one of the RTS Legends figures for $3 a piece, and they had some of the Scout figures, including Wind Charger, for $5.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. It's like, you know, like what Bob is asking about. What does Walmart, Target, Toys R Us? What do the big box stores do with stuff that's sat there for God knows how long? And I think that's what they honestly do. They will make a deal with Big Lots or Kohl's or some really strange off-the-wall store that you, like, hell, even like JCPenney and Sears, you know. And that's the thing. Sears, specifically Sears, back in the 80s, it was everything for kids to get that wish book every year. Because even though we knew we weren't going to get any of the damn toys from Sears.
That was
But it was
part of
like,
the holidays.
yeah, that was part of the holidays. That was part of seeing them. And I think that's what the big box stores do is they will make a deal with a smaller chain and say, here, we've had these on our shelves for X amount of extra months than what we thought that they were going to sell for. They haven't sold. Do you want them at a discount price? And then you can discount them for whatever. And I don't know. I don't work in retail. I have no clue. I could be wrong on this, but I think that's probably what they do because I know that's what was done with Robot Heroes because I found at the time I had, I think 20, 25 different Transformers Robot Heroes. I found majority of them at Big Lots, like hidden in the little, toy section that they had at that store. And that's how I found them, and that's how I got into them. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just weird.
You know what store I really miss was KB Toy Store. Those things in the mall back in the day. Oh my goodness gracious, that was. I just sounded really old saying that. But anyway, when we used to be mall rats, and that was the crap going to that store because they had the best toys and they were cheap. And it's like they don't have that kind of store. It's like they need a secondhand store for crap that doesn't sell.
See, when I first got my first job when I was 17, I used to go to KB Toy Store, and they had the Star Wars figures. Were all like $1 a piece back then.
Oh, yeah.
I'd get my paycheck, and I'd go through, and I'd buy a bunch of Star Wars figures.
That's where I used to get all my Ninja Turtle stuff. I used to go to KB Toy Store and buy Ninja Turtles and WWF wrestling figures because they were like $5, for a 6-inch wrestling figure. Mm. And it was every Friday my dad would be, where do you guys want to go? And I'd be at the mall, and it's like I'd spend my allowance on Mutant Turtles. But it's like you go to Walmart now and it's just like, really? This seems like a lot of waste of space for crap that nobody wants.
All right,
like how much Ben 10 crap is somebody actually really going to buy?
Yeah, really. How much, or what was the size class for the old Turtles toys? What was it, like 5 inches tall?
I think they were 4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5 inches.
They weren't very tall.
Back in 2009, when it was the 25th anniversary, I went to Target and they had Leo, Raph, Donnie, and Mikey, and I think there was also Splinter there. There was supposed to be April, but I never found her. But they were like, $7.99 a piece. That's not bad. Okay, I know it's not a transforming toy, whatever, that's fine. But that's, for those toys and for what they are, being the 25th anniversary, that was not a bad price point for that.
Not at all.
And now it seems like, everything has to either be more costly and we get less stuff, or it's more costly and we still get stuff that, you have a splotchy paint crotch, or you have a left arm where a right arm should be, or you have a shoulder that's mismatched, or, whatever. I just can't see justifying money on toys anymore. Like, I was so pissed when I first started collecting. It was like the nostalgia of it just hit me, and I didn't care because I had so much extra money coming in. I paid eBay prices. I paid $300 for a G1 blaster, like C7 mint in box or something like that. And I got it, and the box came, and the price on it was like, BJ's Superstore or whatever else, price like $21. And I'm like, son of a bitch, why can't it be the 80s again?
Yeah, I don't know. I think these toy stores, or the toy companies like Hasbro and Mattel, they would have a lot more money if they wouldn't waste so much. I mean, look at all the packaging and all that stuff of the toys that don't sell, like the Dark and the Moon figures. Come out with what people actually want. The main characters, the special ones, and don't change our name from Dino to Dino, whatever the heck his name was. Guido.
Sideswipe, yeah.
Yeah, make him Guido. But just you think of all the packaging and all.
Hey,
that stuff,
I'm an Autobot.
Yeah.
I'm an Autobot who eats the mushrooms to grow.
Where's my brother Luigi? But it's just like all those shelf warmers. It's like all that money that Hasbro spent to make wasting when they could be using it for other resources, like stuff people would actually want to buy.
Yeah.
They should have a Hasbro club like Matty Collector, but actually, for collectors. Somebody needs to do it.
Well, all right.
And actually,
I
think it
agree
over.
to a certain point that there needs to be something for collectors.
And there's Hot Toys, of course, but I don't have $400 to spend on a
all right, but that's for a collector who actually can afford,
yeah.
To buy something like that. Even if, again, using Paul as an example, because, he's not here, so we have to talk about him. Paul will buy that, but he'll make his money back from views off of YouTube. So, yes, he's buying it because he really wants it, but he's also buying it so, he'll get the views off of YouTube and he'll make his money back, and that's all well and good. For the regular person that has a 9-to-5 job or, a midnight to 6 a.m. job, whatever, that makes maybe slightly better than minimum wage, granted, we should save our money to afford something like that, but still, that's
I can't
a lot of freaking money for essentially a display piece. I don't care what Paul says, those Hot Toys are display pieces. You're not going to find yourself playing with Batman.
Yeah, my kids would I would never, if I spent that kind of money and, Daddy, can I see Batman? Hell no. Hell to the no. You're not touching it.
You see with your eyes, not with your hands.
I'm afraid to touch it. That's $300.
Yeah.
That took me, a long time to get. I'm thinking, like, the average Joe, like you were saying, somebody that collects but can spend $20 to $30. I didn't mind spending $22 on Ghostbuster figures because I wanted them. I loved Ghostbusters. I wanted to have them.
Yeah.
Not the repaints and just different heads on bodies, but the initial wave.
The initial wave, yeah.
Like you and He-Man, you wanted the initial wave.
Yeah.
And you were willing to pay whatever.
And that's the thing with Mattel. They know if they give us all the characters that we want right away, then we're not going to buy anything else from them. That's why it's taken so long for us to finally get a Mechanic and so long for us to, whenever we get a Ram Man, that's why that they've stretched that out. We've already got a majority of the core characters.
What did you think of the Snake Man-at-Arms?
It's freaking stupid.
Well, I mean, is that... To me, in my mind, I was just like, that's like
the Serpent's Ring, because the Serpent's Ring is a cool accessory, but it's a snake head with Man-at-Arms armor. I mean, I think it's cool if you already have a Man-at-Arms, and you can just, swap out the heads and all that stuff, because the armor on the snake version is more in line with the 2002 cartoon. I thought that was kind of cool, but the figure in general, just as having a snake head on it, fuck it.
Yeah, I missed the whole 2002 cartoon, because when I seen that review, I was just like, when did he get turned into a snake? I must have done way more drugs than what I thought I did when I was younger. I was like, I don't remember him ever turning into a snake in the cartoon.
The 2002 cartoon, I
completely missed it.
It's pretty damn awesome, honestly. I
need to go back and see it. If you say it's good, I better. Is it on Hulu or anything?
I'm not sure.
YouTube?
I don't think it's on Netflix yet either. And I know that they just because I just saw it on my Netflix. Apparently, by the first week of July, She-Ra is going off Netflix. I have no idea why. I guess Netflix might have lost the license to broadcast her series, but
I guess they are on there.
Yeah.
The beginning, part 1, they're like 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to check those out then.
Yeah. I have the first, I think, season on iTunes. It's on DVD. Honestly, getting it on DVD is probably the cheapest way you're going to be able to get the entire series to watch it. Mm-hmm. But it was a damn good series because it sticks to a strict continuity and it tells an actual story, whereas the old Filmation version was individual story. There's some continuity there, but like each week or each day, because it was daily, 5 days a week syndication, it gave you a different story each day, and that was good for that time. But the 2002 version was just a solid story. But
now, did they have figures that came out for that?
I just didn't care.
Did they have toys that came out for that?
2002.
Yeah.
That's actually why we have Masters Classics online only, is because the 2002 toy line failed in stores. 2008 was the first time in 6 years since the 2002 line failed that Mattel actually produced Master stuff. It took them 6 years.
Well, see, I wonder why they failed. Because like fans like you and me's age,
They just weren't selling, and
or they
half
were
the
just
time
crap.
people would go in and they would find He-Mans and Skeletors. They wouldn't find any of the other characters. It's kind of like Bumblebee syndrome,
Yeah.
where
See, so that's where the toy people shoot themselves in the foot.
Yep.
Which was my whole comment today, and it's like seemed like, here we are talking about Paul again, but it seems like he jumped on. Well, of course they're going to raise prices because the economy's bad and they have to make money too. But they're not doing it in my mind. They're not doing it logically. They're not thinking ahead. They're wasting so much money on this Bumblebees and like you said, the Skids and Mudflap crap that nobody wants. Bruticus that's in like M&M Skittle colors. I don't want that. I'm not paying $100 for that.
And see that like Bruticus itself, I'm sorry, putting 5 deluxe toys together to form a giant that's not that's not very elegant construction, because the 5 figures put together look like shit. Doesn't matter what colors you have them in. The original, and I've said this before, the original picture that was shown in the Game Informer magazine of the toys, it was Swindle in the G1 green and purple kind of colors. It was very G1 looking, and I think that's what the SDCC exclusive is, or I forget which one it is as far as which colors are which, but the one that really, really looked like G1, I really, really liked that on Swindle. I thought it was really freaking cool. And then they went up and changed it, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't look good at all whatsoever when it comes to Swindle on the color change. But what is Hasbro thinking, putting 5 deluxe figures together to make one giant combiner robot? I mean, that's almost as bad as that crappy Power Core stuff that they tried to do.
That was
a while ago.
horrible. And those didn't sell for nothing.
Nope, not at all. I don't know.
I looked at those and I was like, really? That's supposed to be cool looking? It's like even my kids are like, what is that mess? It's like it was horrible.
Yeah. I don't know. Kevin, what are your thoughts on Bruticus and his, transformation from the... Oh, well, there goes Kevin again. Lovely. I just don't see how that's a decent combiner. I don't get how Bruticus is a decent-looking combiner at all. It's 5 deluxe toys glued together.
It's
right.
Gangly looking.
Yeah.
That's about all I can say. It's very gangly looking. I don't know if they've still got it mistransformed or...
How does the company mistransform their own figure?
I just blame Photoshop. That's what they usually do.
It goes to prove to me that they have no clue what they're doing or care. Because, okay, 1 deluxe figure and it's a piece of crap. Now I'm going to get 5 piece of crap deluxes to put into one big piece of crap. It's just...
Look at Knockout. Look at his instructions. How screwed up are his instructions compared to how he's supposed to be transformed?
Yeah, they're completely wrong. Like, his arms are not even close to being the way they're supposed to be. And was
his
it
chest
really...
is wrong and everything else. His shoulders are wrong in the instructions.
What's like with you have him too, Kevin? Don't you have the first edition Starscream?
Yes, I do.
It doesn't say anything about the wings in the back of his legs. It doesn't say anything on there. Are we supposed to have him down or up or what the heck are those? It's like it doesn't say anything about it in the instructions. It's like just forget them. They're just extra bits on there for no reason.
Well, they did the same thing with the deluxe version of Megatron too. It's his transformation, according to the instructions, didn't even have you pulling all the wing tips out and everything else. I wouldn't even know about that if it wasn't for PR's video.
Right, and that's how I watch the bigger guys that review and stuff to see if I'm even transforming it right, because the instructions are like, what? And Mike, you've been out of the loop for a while, but the instructions lately are just horrible.
Well, instructions for me in general were horrible. I just, even as a kid, even the G1 instructions are, just sometimes they just kind of sucked. But that's why, as you guys just said, that's honestly why I started watching video reviewers, is because, you know, for the most part, most of them know what they're talking about, unless, you talk like a child molester from Northern California.
Or you shake
Uh,
so bad I can't see what the heck you're trying to do.
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't say that.
exactly,
Okay, I did say that.
exactly. Or, you know, Bruce Vane and all that, and you know. But it's like that's why I started watching video reviews, because I wanted to see what like specifically with BotCon 2008. That's what I wanted to see what the figures look like. I want to see how they transform and everything else.
Hmm.
And when I was doing the collecting, and I was buying new toys, and I would watch the videos to find out what I was supposed to do versus that, because the instructions, okay, that's a nice picture, and that's all it was. It
Yeah,
was a nice little picture.
it's a little tiny square that I
Yeah.
think this one's colored, and you want me to turn it
This way, yeah.
backwards 4 times and then to the left. What? I don't.
I
Words would be
can't
awesome.
I can't tell you how many times that the Classics Optimus mold had given me problems with the twisting of the waist. That second part, like his chest piece on his waist piece, twisting, because it's like two different pieces. Twisting that around to get the tires to go right and get oh god, looking at the instructions for that thing is just
See,
nuts.
that's how I am for the War for Cybertron Optimus.
Mm.
I cannot transform that thing to save my life, and it's like really, the instructions are no help. I was like, a little bit of words would be fine. Take the left arm and move it counterclockwise. How hard is it to put words in?
Yeah, exactly.
I know they're for kids, but at least when my kids would come, Daddy, help me do this or put this together for me.
Yeah,
I would love to have words. Okay, put 4 screws in the back of it. Okay, great. I don't want to see pictures of screws, and where the heck am I supposed to put them?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not a rocket science. I can't read schematics.
Yeah.
I'm not a bright man, as Forrest Gump would say. I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is. I know what words are.
Oh god.
But at least so I can read how to put it together.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's just nuts. The instructions are it's a worthless piece of paper, essentially. But as far as the toys in this economy, collecting is so hard these days. Because the toy companies do make some amazing, awesome figures. But at the same time,
Where do you put your heart into it? I mean,
well,
it's
where
like
do you put your heart into it, and where do you put your wallet into it? Because I know there's a lot of people. I know there's a lot of people that that will save up their money and everything else and be able to buy something really nice like a masterpiece toy or something like that. But it's just God, I don't know. This is why I'm glad I'm out of the toy collecting at this point, because
I've wanted DC Direct figures for a while now. Batman, the Arkham City, Arkham Asylum, and I've watched reviews and I was like, man, I would love to have one of those. And I finally found that place in town here, and I went in there to the store and found them, and I saw them actually hold them in my hand, and I was really excited about these. And I got them, and I talked to the guy, and I was like, hey, if I pimp out your store on my YouTube, and the guy gave me 10% discount for the figures for doing that for him, which was awesome. Anyway, I get them home, open them up, and I'm like, so excited to have them. I finally got them, and it's like, oh, the paint underneath Batman's arm is all smudged. I was just like, son of a... I had such high hopes, and then to actually get it in my hand, I was just like, it was almost like Christmas morning when you open up a present and it was closed. It was just like, what a ripoff. It's like, I was so excited. I paid $22 for this figure, and the paint is horrible on it, or the arm doesn't move because it's like sealed, painted shut or something. I don't know. And like with Paul, like I was saying about his Croc figure that he just got, the arm just plumb fell right off. It's just hard to spend money on things nowadays for quality like that. Yeah. I completely losing faith in it. It's like now I kind of know why I didn't collect, from my 20s to just here recently when I started again. That whole time, I never paid attention to toys.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I didn't start until I was 28. So that and I'm 32 now, and I've lost interest in it. And
Yeah.
it's not for me personally. It's not just because of price. It's also because of crappy quality, and it's also because in the last year or so, and I've said this before, that I've moved like 4 or 5 different
1,000.
times, and you know, once you're settled and you have your collection set up, and it's like, oh, you got to move, and then oh, you got to move again, and it's like it doesn't, it just it's kind of like, well, fuck it, you know.
Yeah.
But the toys in this economy, hey, if you're more than willing to save up your pennies and be able to buy something that you really want, that's great. Um, and
Pretty
but
much I'm using my kids as an excuse, because my son, he's 4 and he loves the rescue bots, the Transformers, and they're really cool toys and I like it. But it's like, oh, my son really would love to have the helicopter, even though deep down inside I really want it, But it's like, oh, I'm gonna buy it for him and give it to him after I review it. It's like that's how my mindset is. Instead of like going out and spending the $30-$40, I'll just give it something that he'll enjoy after I review it. I'll do the packaging, the review. Here you go, son. Go play. Knock yourself out.
Yeah.
It's not really a collection. It's like killing two birds with one stone kind of thing. But I use my kids like excuse. Hey, the kids really want to go to Toys R Us, even though it is, I want to go just as bad as they do.
Yeah. Well, with the whole talk of price hikes and everything else, more specifically to Mattel, and we've talked about this before, you've got some people out there that, I know one guy, he's a really great guy, Mike Lacey. He has 4 Club Eternia subscriptions.
Good Lord.
2 for himself and 2 for his son. The 2 for himself is 1 to open and 1 to keep in box, and the other one is 1 for his son, so Mike can save it for his son, and then the other is for his son to open.
Oh, so when he gets older, here all in package that I saved for you.
Right. When he gets older, Mike can present his son with, hey, here's an entire collection of mint in box toys. If you want them, blah blah blah, whatever.
Right.
But it's like, and Mike and I have talked about this before, where it's like, if Mattel increases prices, because what people aren't considering is that not only are the regular He-Man deluxe, whatever, 6-inch figures going to increase, that means the larger stuff and the multi-packs are going to increase too. Right now, a multi-pack is anywhere from 20 to 40 to 60 bucks. So if they increase prices, that could end up anywhere being $20 to $60 to $80, and it's like I just can't justify that kind of price.
See, and I didn't even think about that because, the deluxe is going up to $15. What's that mean for the Voyagers and the other figures? They're going to go up too. I didn't even think about that until you just said that.
If a deluxe Transformer is now $14.99. A Voyager is probably going to be close to $30, and the leaders, if they are even, I don't think
they make them.
I was going to say, I don't even think they're doing leaders anymore, but leaders are probably going to be close to $60-$70,
which is outrageous.
Yeah, that's just outrageous. I mean, like I know, for example, from people who were in Canada, when I bought my leader Animated Ultra Magnus, he was $40 at Target, and I've talked to people in Canada where like, he was only $39.99 where you are. He's like, I was like, yeah. He's like, and the person was like, well, he's like $69.99 up here, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, really? And that was Animated Leader Ultra Magnus was $70 in Canada. And I know it's a different country, different financial points, and all that crap, but
because they pay for healthcare and their taxes. That's a whole different show.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show. So. Buying toy, not just Transformers, but any toy in this economy, it's a crapshoot, because you could get a toy that has bad, an arm falls off, or the joints are loose and eventually it'll fall off, or you go to a convention, you buy a $70 piece of marshmallow fluff that starts pissing all over itself, and whatever else
start turning yellow.
Yeah. It's a crapshoot, is what it is. In all honesty,
And that's the risk you do as a collector or like a YouTube, reviewer. I see that as something I love doing, but I review what I collect. And it's
Yeah.
like, where do I go from now? It's like, do I keep collecting Transformer figures that, you buy 2 figures, there's $30 down the drain.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that took me 2 hours of work to get to that. It's like,
Yeah.
in my mind, I was like, wow, that's crazy.
And the other thing about it is that the hunt, at least for me, I don't know about you or Kevin or Paul or anybody else. The hunt for me is just so disappointing, especially now. I guarantee you, if I was still hunting now, I would be so friggin' disappointed because every time I see friends on Twitter post, "Oh, this store has nothing but bumblebees," or "Oh, this store has nothing but this figure," it's like it doesn't seem like the hunt specifically for Transformers. They salt the shelves with bumblebees so much that, okay, sure, there might be a wheeljack all the way in the back behind all the bumblebees. There might be an RC. There might be whatever, a bulkhead, whatever else. I don't even know what else. A cliff jumper, whatever else. You know.
But you spend $40 in gas going to 15 different stores looking for, going on this quest for the Holy Grail.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
When you find it and look at it, you're like, I just spent 5 hours and so much gas looking for this, and I see it in person, holding it in my hand. No, what? Why? Yeah. It doesn't look like it did on the review. It looked cool on Paul's review, but when you have it in your hand, you're like, yeah.
And that's why for me it depends on character now. And I remember when I was still collecting, I coveted the animated RCs. I really wanted every single version of the animated Rodimus mold, well, minus that breakdown crap. It's as cool as the 2011 set is. I just wasn't a fan of the colors on breakdown for the Rodimus mold. But anyway, I more so focus on what characters do I really love, what characters figures do I really want toys of versus, okay, I need to have the entire Autobot team from Prime, I need to have the entire Decepticon team, and whatever else.
And see, I was going that way, but I was like, okay, I'm done. It's like I got the Autobots I want. I'm looking for the Viacon because I need more Decepticons because I only got Starscream, and I got a couple. I got like Megatron from Wars for Cybertron and Soundwave and stuff, but it's just okay. I'm done. I'm gonna save my money and wait for the new Jazz coming out from the new video game. That's one I really like because I love Jazz, as you know, and yes. He's somebody I collect, so I will try to get Jazz from every line I can. Just because I love that figure. But other than that, I'm like, nothing really, whatever,
Yeah.
And even if Jazz is a bad figure, he's still Jazz. In my heart, it's something I grew up with when I was a kid. I'm attached to it,
Well, yeah.
Just like with how people are with certain figures, no matter what line it is or how many different versions there are of them, you're going to buy them.
Yeah, and sadly, this day and age, the locomotive is kind of out. So I won't ever really get a classics or any kind of like updated version of Astro Train unless it's a fucking bullet train, which is so stupid.
See, I was just gonna say I have the bullet train one. I would be more than happy to send to you.
No,
it's the Henkei one, but
no,
yeah, it's purple and
I know,
awesome.
I know what they look like, but see, that's the thing. It's like, okay, if you look at the vintage He-Man figures, like you take the vintage He-Man and the vintage Skeletor and you put them next to classics, Masters Classics He-Man and Masters Classics Skeletor, they are exact copies and exact duplicates except in today's standards of toy making, as far as size and everything else.
No lead paint.
Right, and and that's what I want someone to do with Astro Train is to
I want the steam engine,
bring the locomotive back, but in the the classics or generations or whatever else kind of styling and all. Like, I don't give a shit about the bullet train.
Yeah, well,
the only bullet train that was ever cool for me was Rail Racer. The three Midnight Express and Rail Run and
Oh,
what the
yeah.
hell the other one was. I forget what the other one's name was.
Yeah.
So yeah, toys in this economy, like I was saying earlier to kind of close out the show, it's like, yeah, save your monies, and then if you find something that you really really want, cool. Um, but honestly, I would put money elsewhere.
And I'll finish with, I guess it goes buyer beware. You see something on TV and you take one guy's opinion of it. You can't take that for granted that every single one of that figure is going to be awesome, because one guy's cliff jumper is going to work. Mine is horrible. It won't hold a gun. The arms don't close. It's a piece of crap. And it's just a crapshoot,
Yeah.
Buyers beware.
And I don't understand. Okay, it's and again we've tried to wrap this show up a couple times, but
Sorry.
I know no you bring up a good point. I don't understand is how with any toy company, how is the quality control so much different from figure to figure? If you think of Hasbro and Transformers as an assembly line type of deal, yes, I know each figure gets so much time and attention to it, but if you have 10 people in a line that they're all working on the same molded figure, you would think, even though it's 10 different people, you would think that it would have that they would all follow the instructions, their own instructions.
Yeah,
Like,
and there'd be a machine to measure the thickness of the plastic.
Exactly.
I mean, even Laverne and Shirley had that little thing that the bottles went through, and they looked for whatever in the beer bottles. They did quality control. It's like, it can't really be that hard. Pick every 10 figures and transform it to see if it transforms or not. Nope, throw it away. There has to be some rhyme or reason to it.
I don't know.
It's like, I wonder if they think we are their, quality control. It's not like we can send them back to them. Here, take this cliff jumper back. I don't want it. I want my $15 back.
Here, take this $130 piece of plastic crap ghost trap back. Oh, wait, you're going to make me pay for shipping. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Exactly. There's a whole nother story.
the toys in this toy collecting in this economy does not mix well. If it was maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, it would have been all right. But since the economy has essentially, been flushed down the toilet,
it's the economy along with the quality is my biggest thing. I wouldn't mind paying, like I said before, I wouldn't mind paying $20, $30 for a toy I know that's going to be awesome. Every single time. It's not a crapshoot.
Yep.
But for a deluxe, I don't see it. Especially for a kid, that's kind of out of their price range.
Exactly.
Don't you think? I don't know what your allowances are nowadays for most parents, but I give my daughter like $3 a week or whatever to help watch my son and this and that. A 10-year-old doesn't need more than $3 a week. I mean, what she really need?
I think I used to get like $5 a week, but again, it goes to the economy and what parents can actually afford to do for their
exactly.
kids.
I just it would take her a month to save up for a toy that's $15.
Yeah, that's nuts. So, all right, this has been ToyCast. You can find us on Twitter at TFToyCast. Bob's on Twitter at so fucking you're such a jerk.
You did it.
It's
your
no,
fault.
I meant just use the @ sign and then your name, dumbass, not the @ sign and AT Bob Gilmer.
But it's at like Star Wars, get it? At Bob Gilmer. It's a bad Star Wars reference.
Bad Star Wars reference. You should just respell your name at Bob Glimmer.
Or Glimmer or Gilmore, like everybody else thinks it is, like Happy Gilmore. It's ER, not ORE. I get called, is there a Bob Gilmore here?
Like, son, Glimmer's brother.
Yeah. Or named him Happy. Happy Gilmer.
Alright, so this show has gone down the crapper. I am TF2 and Mike. He is Slimeblower Bob. Be sure to check out geekcastradio.com. Check out Bob on his YouTube channel. What is your YouTube channel?
It's just Bob Gilmer, one word.
Good. So that's it for this time. We will see you next time when I have no idea what we're going to be doing.
Podcast good.